The United States and the rest of the world is going through a massive change right now. Because of this pandemic and new Omicron variant, a lot of companies and businesses are saying that the return to work is not delayed. In fact, it is never coming back. This would be a major shift in society because it means a lot of people are going to start moving throughout the country and they will ultimately be shifting to a work from home lifestyle forever. Time and time again, companies are delaying their return to office dates. And now some companies are never sure that office life is going to come back. And like I said, this is a big shift for our American economy and culture in general. People working from home en masse like this has never been seen before. So today I want to talk all about this new normal. What exactly does this work from home lifestyle mean for the future of our economy and the future of our culture? Because honestly, the two things are intertwined. But before I get into all of that, my name is Nate from Minority Mindset News, and if you like this video, then smash that thumbs up button below and hit that notification bell too. That way YouTube shows our videos to way more money minds around the world, and we can keep making videos just like this one. Just about every single company that can move from work to home has done so. And that is a really interesting find considering Americans have worked in offices for the better part of the last century. From Lyft to Google and a ton of other businesses, people are staying home. And they started staying home back in March of 2020. But ever since we had all of those economic lockdowns and social distancing orders, things have been pretty weird. Some businesses have actually welcomed back new employees into the office and then sent them home. And then they've welcomed them back again, but because of the new Omicron variant, they are now sending them back home. It's really hard for a lot of company executives to figure out what's coming next. They don't really know what the future of our economy and this virus holds, so they'd rather be safe than sorry. But this work from home lifestyle has done a lot more than just affect people's wallets. It's also started to affect a lot of people's minds. For one, a great deal of people are now specifically looking for a job that they can do from home. They don't want a commute anymore, and they do not want to work in an office around other people. That is a major shift from what we have seen in the past. Office culture has definitely grown in the United States, but now a lot of millennials and Gen Z and Gen Xers are saying they do not want that lifestyle anymore. They actually say they work better from home and are a lot more productive. And working from home is interesting. From someone that did it for a very long time throughout the pandemic, I'll tell you one thing, you really don't have a set schedule anymore. Because when you're in the office, you kind of come in at a specific time, and then when your work is done, you leave at that specific time. For a lot of people, they don't go back home and work. However, when you work from home, there is a lot of other stuff going on. Sometimes you work, sometimes you don't work, but you don't really have a set schedule anymore. You kind of wake up and do your job, and you either stop doing it at a certain time or you keep doing it. Sometimes that means working into the late hours of the night, like 8, 9, 10, and 11 o'clock. Work-life balance is definitely affected when you work from home, and company CEOs kind of take advantage of this and start talking to their employees outside of what is considered normal work hours. There's actually a law on this in, I believe, the UK, where they basically banned employers from trying to speak to their employees after work hours, especially the ones that work from home. The reason for this is because things got so bad, there wasn't really a set time and there wasn't really any work-life balance. They were basically just merged into one. Now, Americans taking work home is nothing new. However, when your work is home, there's again not that separation. So a lot of Americans are now looking for jobs that they can specifically do from home. However, not every job on the market you can specifically do from home. Like if you are a doctor or a construction worker or somebody that works in retail. You can't exactly stock the shelves at Kohl's if you're working from home. That has created a massive hole in our labor shortage, and it's part of the reason why we are seeing a great resignation right now throughout the United States. People are leaving their current jobs for a variety of different reasons. Some people are leaving their jobs because they believe their wage is way too low for the job that they do. In addition, some people are leaving their jobs due to vaccine mandates, and some people are leaving their jobs just because they don't love what they do. With that being said, some people are leaving their jobs because some businesses because are making them go back to the office. And some people just don't want that anymore. I mean, during the pandemic, people working from home was a good thing. You had social distancing and people could go out if they needed to go out. You also had the expansion of delivery services like Uber Eats and DoorDash. These companies provided groceries and they also provided food for everyday Americans. So people literally didn't have to leave their house for anything. In addition, people that had kids no longer had to pay a babysitter because they were home working. That means if you had young children during the pandemic, you saved a ton of money on your childcare costs. In addition, if you had a long commute to work, you now were saving hundreds of dollars every month in gas bills because you don't have to make that commute anymore. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people can prove that they did their jobs just fine at home. So there is really no reason for them to return to the office. And that has caused a massive problem in the jobs market. Some businesses are starting to realize that people are going to want to work from home and they need to provide that for some people. Other businesses have realized that they do need some people to work from home sometimes, so they're kind of adopting a hybrid model. But either way, it has really made people rethink about what they want in a job, whether that be a better job that they actually enjoy or just a better work environment. That has caused some other problems in our labor industry as well, because as people look for more work from home jobs, there are only so many work from home jobs on the market, which is delaying people from getting a job because they actually have to find one that they want. And this new Omicron variant is stirring up a lot of problems in just about every industry right now. People aren't really sure how deadly or how strong this new virus is. The only thing that we know is that it spreads very rapidly. Now, we do have some reports that are coming out that this new variant of the virus has a lot less severe symptoms than some other variants that we've seen, but it's brand new. We don't really know a lot about it yet, and it could still mutate again. That has left a lot of companies and businesses wondering, do we even bring back employees at all? Do we actually just keep them work from home full time because we don't really know when this pandemic is going to go away? You gotta think here, the only alternative is to bring them back in the office, and then if things get bad and you have an outbreak, send them home. And if things get better again, you bring them back. However, this is really difficult on employees, especially if they have kids or some other predetermined situation that they need to be home for. And a lot of the times, these office return dates move around. They might be moved up by a week. Sometimes people don't know when they're going to be expected back in the office. So they might make some other plans, or they might have something else going on in their lives that they can't exactly come back to work for. Businesses have really had to consider the safety of their employees because a virus like this hasn't really been around since we've sort of adopted this office life culture. But this work from home kind of ideology is affecting more than just the work culture of the United States. It's also greatly affecting the finances and the way we think about buying things as well. Basically, in March of 2020, we saw millions of Americans start working from home. This included teachers because kids were going to have to start doing homeschool. Basically, they would sit in front of their computer and that was their classroom. And right away, we really didn't know how long that was going to last for. That's why you saw so much economic stimulus and ultimately a stock market crash. People were scared and people wanted to stay home because we didn't really know much about this virus. However, that lasted for a long time, and I think Americans really got used to staying home more and staying away from people. And as a society that relies on spending and relies on people going out and doing things, our economy took a hit. You saw travel immediately tank because people weren't going out and traveling. Airliners lost money. Hotel chains lost money and restaurant chains lost money too. But eventually, a lot of these companies started to adapt. They started to adapt so that they could bring the food and the entertainment all the way to people. You started to see delivery services begin to expand all throughout the United States. Uber Eats and DoorDash started to explode, and they started to expand to bring people regular everyday groceries too. And we saw in 2021 streaming services explode. From HBO Max to Disney Plus, streaming services were booming. This is because so many people were at home, they needed to be entertained too. They basically went from work to being entertained. And there was a lot more time for that because people were no longer having a commute. They literally went from work to doing the things that they loved. Everything was super convenient for Americans. And when everything is super convenient and at their fingertips, they tend to buy more. But the problem with what happened in 2020 is there was not a lot of money to go around, at least at first, because remember, businesses were starting to shut down and people were being sent home, which means you saw unemployment start to rise and people were getting laid off too. So people didn't really have that income to rely on. This is when the Federal Reserve decided to print trillions of dollars and then pump that money into the United States economy. This way, even though people weren't working, they were still getting money. And because everything was so convenient and at people's fingertips, they tended to spend more. Everybody went out and bought so much that now we are under some massive inflation. We are having supply chain issues because demand is super high, but our supply of everything is low. Now, eventually, I think our supply chain issues will work themselves out. I think the Federal Reserve has a plan in place that will help lower inflation in 2022. And obviously, there is no guarantee that the Federal Reserve and our United States inflation level is going to go down. It really depends on a variety of different factors, including the Omicron variant. However, I think all of this convenience and all of this work from home is definitely here to stay throughout our society. We're already starting to see it from a work perspective. People want jobs that are work from home, but just about everything else is becoming more convenient for people. People are starting to adapt their lives to this work from home culture. People are going out and buying homes and getting bigger space and moving away from cities because of all of this work from home. In addition, companies are getting pretty creative. You have some fast food chains that are totally cutting out their in-dining experience because they only want people to go through their drive-thru. Now, what that does is actually helps them save a lot of overhead because you have a smaller restaurant. That's a smaller restaurant to provide energy to in heating and cleaning. In addition, as more people want work from home jobs, those typically mean office jobs or what were office jobs. So less people are searching out those fast food and retail positions, and eventually automation is going to take over. Those positions are going to be filled by robots who do not need a pay increase and can't contract the Omicron variant. In addition, this has some other big implications for our country because we are starting to move away from fossil fuels and we're starting to move away from oil. And that has some potential benefits for our entire planet, for our future. However, right now, it's kind of posing a bit of a problem. All of the houses and businesses in the United States require electricity. The United States creates most of its energy based on coal, so that is going to have to increase as more people start working from home and as more people start moving to the suburbs. In addition, natural gas will probably start going up too because people need more energy to heat their homes. But we only have so much though, so as we go away from CO2 from vehicles, we're going to start increasing our coal. And I know what you're probably thinking, can't we just use solar and wind energy? And you're absolutely right. We can use those resources. However, we are not doing nearly enough right now to sustain everybody in the United States. In order to have a great deal of solar energy, you need it to kind of be sunny. I mean, you don't need it to absolutely be beautiful outside, but you do need a little bit of sun. In addition, for wind energy, you have to have a windy area. And some areas of the country just aren't windy, so they can't just throw a wind turbine there and say, we have energy now. You have to figure out where the wind is and then build wind turbines in those areas and then take that energy and transport it throughout the United States. That is a problem too because the infrastructure of our electric lines is greatly outdated. So that is a brimming problem in the United States, and it's only going to grow bigger as more people start consuming more energy. And don't forget, the United States is growing in population every single year, which means we need to build more infrastructure to support all of these people. And all of that costs money, which means all of our energy prices and the cost of living is probably going to go up exponentially over time. So there is a price to pay with all of this convenience, and I hope that we have some great minds in our society that can start figuring out a lot of these issues and hopefully prevent them before they actually become problems. However, right now, the United States is kind of having a bit of an issue between our labor force and automation and energy scarcity throughout the country. And all of that is going to get worse along with inflation if demand and the convenience of everything continues to go up. So the return to office life may be history, but we may also see some other things become history within the next few years. But now I want to hear from you on this issue. What do you think about office life going away forever? Do you think the United States will eventually get back to an in-person office life culture? Or do you think the convenience of working from home and getting everything else at home is going to take over our nation forever? Whatever your thoughts are, leave a comment below before you go. But that is it for today's business and financial news breakdown. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Keep hustling, money minds, and I'll see you all in the next one.